Welcome to another episode of Your Voice. I'm John Balser, your voice for the NRV and surrounding areas. On today's episode, we have Sharon Scott, Executive Director of the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy week to be here and to sit down with us and to kind of talk a little bit about the Chamber, what you do, and a little bit about yourself. Thank you so much.
John, it's an absolute pleasure to be here with you, especially in the middle of Sugar Magnolia where everyone else is eating ice cream and I'm not.
You wanted the lemon crunch? Is that what it was?
Oh. Fabulous.
I'll have to try that next time.
You will.
Everybody swears by apple pie and some other ones, but I'll have to look at the lemon crunch definitely.
Check it out.
So before we get into chamber conversations and work, tell me a little bit about you and what do you do outside of work? We've had some conversations about how you just like to kind of relax on the weekends, but what else is there? Is there anything else you'd love to do?
I love gardening.
Okay.
So I love playing in the dirt.
All right.
If I'm missing on the weekend, my husband gets concerned that I'm at one of the local, plant nurseries, bringing plants home.
Yeah.
He's really good about that, though. I enjoy wine.
Okay.
I love everything there is to know about wine. I try to make it intellectual so that what's the soil, what's the climate where this is grown, what are the nuances from that soil.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so,
That's fantastic.
I'm a nerd. I'm sorry.
I love it. I love the detail. I'm a very detailed person. My friends actually make fun of me sometimes because of how detailed I get into things and how I try to explain things, and I get it. I completely understand. So let's go ahead and jump into your life that seems to be consumed by your career, and you have such a passion for it, and it's always a pleasure working side by side with you. So I want to learn more about what exactly you do with the Chamber, your role with the Chamber, and really the purpose behind it.
It's an interesting question. I like to think that I'm the quarterback. Okay. So play calling, but I have coaches on the sidelines. That's the board of directors. Mm-hmm. But then we have members of the team, and it's real easy for me, John, to say I'm only as good as the team.
Sure.
And I have a phenomenal team right now. So yeah.
That's great. Your team is amazing. You guys really just kind of click. You guys work well together, and you feed off of each other. You guys seem like you've known each other for years and years, and you guys really don't have to talk. I see you guys just give each other looks, and you understand what it means. So it's fantastic seeing the camaraderie amongst you guys, but also the same way. It's nice to see just the understanding that you have with one another. It makes the whole office and anyone that comes in there more comfortable. So. Well,
the cool thing is, we didn't develop that overnight, but we did hire for that.
Sure.
So Grace and I talked about what the ideal team player would look like, and then interviewed for the ideal team player. And this team they hit on all cylinders. They know the playbook, if we go back to that analogy, and it's just phenomenal. I've never worked with a team like this before.
Teams are, once you have that team, you don't want to let them go either. Like they're really hard to, once again, like you said, build it and hire appropriately, but once you have it, if you ever lose it, you don't want to start over again, and you want to make sure, and I know you do, you make sure that your team not only is satisfied with what they do, they enjoy it, but I feel like you mentor them in a great way and really kind of show them how success should be, and I feel like you invest in their success too, so that's great. I love that.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
I'd like to think we do that with our members as well.
Absolutely.
And our door's always open, and how do we help you grow as a company, Yeah.
So that's a great segue into why join the Chamber? What do you think, if you had to pick a couple of reasons, 1 to 2, maybe 3, what are the greatest benefits of not just Chamber in general, but the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce? What do you think sets it apart, and why join it?
I think our community sets it apart.
Okay.
So there are chambers throughout the country, throughout the world, but I think chambers tend to take on the personality of the community, or at least I would hope they would.
Sure.
So for us, it is, how do we strengthen the businesses that are here? How do we make sure that the connections are in place? So if you look at our tagline, connect, engage, and prosper, it's about how do I connect you with businesses that you want to know and can do business with. Because every time you're spending those dollars locally, that goes to support our community.
Absolutely.
So it's an investment.
Absolutely.
But we also advocate for our business members. We don't always know what their needs are if they don't tell us. So we survey them to find out what direction they see the chamber going. And we adjust the playbook accordingly.
I definitely have seen that in action, and whenever there is anything that comes up, you guys are definitely willing to step in and try to come up with a solution. There might not always be a solution, but you do your best to find one. So tell us a little bit about, and you don't have to say too much or too little, but tell us a little bit about some exciting things you see happening for our community, and where do you think the community should be looking at going? What's our future?
That's a tough
one.
But I will tell you this: Wing approached us about 2 months ago.
Okay.
And maybe even a little further out than that. But the exciting thing to me is we're sitting in the books of history right now with that pilot program.
Absolutely.
It's like being on the street when Henry Ford first brought out the car, or Orville and Wilbur Wright flying the first airplane.
Absolutely.
So I'm really excited about that. I think one of the things that I was most offended by was on one of the TV stations, they laughed about our community and said, well, I don't know why they chose that place. When you look at Blacksburg and Christiansburg and all of Montgomery County, we are a jewel, an absolute jewel. Who wouldn't want to live here?
Agreed.
We have absolutely everything. We have farmland that is still very precious to us. Holy cow, go out to Belleville Farm. Grapes are being grown, hops will be grown there. All of those things are part of our history of this community. But if you look at the future of autonomous vehicles, Torque is doing amazing things there. And then with the Wing Project, we have everything in between. The very fact that we're sitting in Sugar Magnolia right here in downtown Blacksburg, who would have known that we would have been able to have supported a small business like this? But everyone loves it.
Yeah,
so
it does.
Christiansburg is the very same way. There are these little shops that are in the nooks and crannies, and you have to get out and find them.
You do. You have to, a lot of people talk about buy local, shop local, be local. There's so many things that you just have to go out and find and really support your community. And I think everyone should focus on that more, and especially with this community, the way things are going, the growth that it's having from an industrial standpoint, from technology to manufacturing to the wineries, breweries. I mean, there's literally the lakes, the mountains, the access to all of the main roads, how things are getting connected throughout the state. Everything is starting here, and it's really branching out. So this community, I only see growth for it in the future, which means you guys are going to be really busy. More people to join the chamber, more people to come to events, more business, more growth. So overall, I think it just breeds success.
I agree with you, but I think it's all about managing that growth, making sure that we have the policies in place, the infrastructure in place, so that people don't become frustrated.
Sure.
Yeah, so we want to do a good job in that aspect as well.
Okay. We're going to do 3 rapid fire questions.
Okay.
And I was going to maybe give them to you in advance and kind of talk about it a little bit, but I like when you just respond to things, because you're so great, and I love to see your reactions to things. So, question number one: if you could write anything on a billboard, what would it say?
Buy local.
Okay, all right, quick and serious. I love it. I absolutely love it. What is the best gift you have ever received?
Oh, that's a tough one. I got a telescope last year for Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why the telescope?
I love looking at the stars. It kind of puts you in perspective that the universe is a much bigger place.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. My daughter just discovered stars. I know that might be off topic, but we were out up in Stanton area and visiting some friends, and we walked outside, and she just looks up and goes, oh, wow. And now every time at night when she goes outside, she just looks up and points, and that it's just the imagination, it gives me goosebumps every time I hear her talk about it. So it's just fantastic. Last question. The word success.
I think the author, it escapes me now, but he wrote the 1 Minute Manager, and I also saw it with Tony Bennett.
Okay.
This is like a pain a little bit because Tony is the basketball coach for UVA. Success, I know. Success. But this author demonstrated it when we were in the recession. Mm-hmm. He called his team in and he said, as executives, we have been at the top of the organization. It's time for us to take a pay cut to make sure that we don't have to lay anyone off during the recession. Tony Bennett just did that with his basketball coaches.
That was great.
So to me, that's what success is. It's not about the spotlight being on one person. It's about how do we all work together so that we share that spotlight and we take care of people.
So it's the chamber.
Thank you.
It is. And you guys do such a great job of that yourself. I think you guys really invest in those people. You guys love what you do and you give back, and I think that's what it all has to do with everything. So if there's any information that you would like anyone to know about the chamber, or events, anything in particular you want people to know, feel free, now is the time. Stuff that we didn't cover, feel free to talk about it.
Well, we just did our announcements of nominations for Business of the Year, Distinguished Business. We give like 9 awards. And the super cool thing to me is everyone now, we've made the announcement, everybody is sending notes and saying, this is such an honor. I'm not involved with the selection, but we have past recipients who serve on that committee.
Yeah.
We want to maintain the integrity of those awards.
Absolutely.
It's not just passing them around to 1 or 2 businesses. It's all about who's making a difference in the community today.
Sure.
So that's pretty exciting. Those will be given out at the annual meeting on December 5th at the end at Virginia Tech. That's phenomenal. We've just turned our leadership program upside down, and we're making changes to that to make it even better in 2020.
Okay.
Our women's leadership program is coming up March 19th at the end at Virginia Tech, and we have a keynote speaker on visual perception. So the theme is 2020 vision and visionaries. So everybody is going to be speaking on how do you create a vision and how do you execute that vision.
I love it.
So all of those great things are happening in our community. Next year, we're also bringing in an individual to help us with understanding our personal biases so that, again, we're breaking those barriers and we're able to do better things in our community.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
What's the best way for people to reach out to the chamber, get in contact with you guys? Do you have a particular way you prefer, or just?
No,
phone, give us a call.
Give us a call at 382-3020 or email us at info@chamber, at Montgomery Chamber.
Okay.
All of those work.
Come by the new office and take a look if you haven't been there.
Do.
It's a great spot.
It's gorgeous.
It is. I absolutely love it there. Well, thank you so much again for taking the time today to really help us out and for giving all the information. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you
Very
so much.
John.
Have a good one.